What are your personal expectations for that unit this year, and could it be even better than last year?
Definitely think it could be better. I think it starts with just, the guys coming together. Personally, I just expect them to come together and continue to grow. All summer, we put our work in, on the field, but what I've been most, proud of is the way the guys have come together, the way that they competed, so it's expecting the expectation to rise. We set a standard. Coach Ed says it all the time. You messed up because you raised the standard. So the guys had a great summer, had a great offseason, a great spring, so they messed up. They raised the standard, so we just got to keep going and play better.
From your perspective, being someone who coaches, the edge guys and this and that, and looking at the film from last year, what made that Bulldog defense so effective, and did it start up front, and then it kind of worked off of that?
Yeah, I think it all starts up front. I think just, that's our defensive coordinator, Coach Benedetto. I've worked with him since 2017. That's always been his philosophy, man. It starts up front. He lets us wreck shop up front, lets us play a little bit free. The guys behind take care of their responsibilities, so they trust us to be disruptive up front, but we got to pay them back. If they're going to let us play free, then we got to make some plays, so that's put us in the opportunity to be able to make some plays. Guys took advantage of it. It starts up front, but our guys behind us, man, they got our back. With the communication, it all works together, but we love being that engine to the defense.
You see it kind of freeing up a little bit in year 2 now of a system under, Coach Benedetto, that you can kind of be a little more creative, you can trust the guys a little more, things like that?
Absolutely. Coming out of practice 1, it was, I didn't even do like our normal install, PowerPoints and all those type of things. I went and watched practice 1 from last year or last spring ball and said, hey guys, these are the things that we messed up, last spring. Let's get these things, or in spring ball, let's get these things better today. So now we took that next step. So now it's just about guys, that trust each other. I trust those guys, so they're able to make some of those plays. And if I do see something like, hey, don't do that one, we can be able to correct that. They're mature enough to take some of those shots, especially here in practice. This is the opportunity to do it, especially here in day 2 of practice, man. We got to do that thing right now, take those shots in practice so we can see what we can get away with and what we maybe, hey, that's the one shot we can't take right there because that compromises the whole defense. But if you got an opportunity to make them better, man, just play fast. As long as you play fast and make a decision, declare, we love that.
Coach was complimentary about the D-line performance yesterday. I don't know about today, but I'm sure it was as good, hopefully. Simeon Amos almost even admitted this is the best position group room. He almost admitted it. But what do you say about all the compliments that are coming to the defensive line?
I think it's just, we're the mafia. We want to put our imprint out there. That's good to hear. That is being recognized, by the teammates, because that's where it's most important. Your teammates, when they see your work and putting it in, and everybody around you, that means a lot. Because we want to put our imprint, on this team and really just do our job. It's about doing your 111. So, the compliments are good, but it's just the next play mentality, man. Just being that 111th, doing your job. We love that.
And the player-led seems to be the theme here. And where are the players leading from your standpoint on this position group?
I think they're just pulling each other, to the side. Like they're coming to each other. They're working and getting extra work in with each other. They're hanging out with each other. Our guys are outside of the building. They're with each other all the time. So I think that's where the leadership is really taking a step from not just being, on the field and doing some of the drill work, which was some of the stuff that was happening last year, to now outside of the building, some of that leadership, showing up more outside and the guys getting together. Not that it wasn't happening last year, but I just think that's happening a lot more, and I think it's going to brought us a lot closer.
And bringing it to, obviously, you're less than a month from first game, but how do you amplify the physicality that coach is looking for always, especially from your position group? How do you amplify that over the month here to come?
It starts with fundamentals and technique. I was just about to say, man, it just starts with a mindset, which it kind of does start with a mindset, but you just can't go out there and act wild just to be physical. We got to be good with our fundamentals and techniques. It starts with the feet, bringing your hips, the hands, and all those things. Physicality will come by doing the things that you're trained to do. Whatever we train you to do, that's going to help you be physical. And then flip that switch, man, just be a dude. Beat the guy across from you.
What kind of leadership does he bring to your group? And he's undergone quite the physical transformation.
Absolutely.
Leaned out quite a bit. What
Absolutely.
does that bring to his game?
No, a lead by example type of guy. He was a guy that we challenged when I first got here. I think Jax was a guy who was close to pushing 30% body fat. And it was like, man, we got to change this, over the next couple of years. And he has changed that. So a lead by example type of guy. He will also, he's a guy that will grab the younger guys, especially he wants to pour in, to those younger guys, and rally guys around him. When he sees something's off, he's not going to sit off to the side. He's going to go and address it. So he's been a great leader for us that way.
What about Dylan Hanston? What about him made you want to bring him in?
Dylan was just very unique. Like, he was just very active, just had a very active motor, very, similar to Finn Claypool last year, just seeing a lot of motor, but was very, not just a pass rush type of guy, man, was very stout, in the run game, was stout, and good in the pass game as well. So he was just very versatile, in what he was doing, just being able to do both, showed the physicality, but then being able to rush the edge as well, and then just brought that motor and juice. You can see it on film.
Is there any guys that in camp have shown you, I mean, maybe during spring ball and now in fall camp, that have made an impact for you?
Noah has done a great job. He's upped it. He got here with us last fall, had a great spring, has continued to have a great summer coming into fall camp. So I think he's a guy that's been stepping out, and stepping up. Maverick Noonan, another guy who came in, in the spring, has been stepping up and doing some good things. So I think those two guys have really been, up their game, from what I've seen even in the spring ball, coming out here with energy and juice.
Well, there's guys who are kind of coming in last year from fall camp looking to have jobs.
Yep.
Now that there's guys who are here who are familiar with the job of what this bringing, what does that bring differently to you and what you're seeing? Because the guys are a little more comfortable being here, being with you guys.
I think now you're coaching the nuances now. You get to take that, you go from the 100 level, we probably got to about the 200 level, mid 200 level, now you get to the 300, 400 level classes where we're coaching the nuances and the why of why we're doing it. Now we get to dig into the exact why. I think the guys are understanding the why. Now I think that's that next phase where, hey, we're going to give you that why, but they're starting to understand why we do things. That's just going to make us play better.